Hi, and welcome to the U World Order Showcase podcast. Today we are talking with Benedict Beaumont. Benedict is a breathwork facilitator who trains people to become breathwork facilitators. So, welcome to the show, Benedict. I am really excited to dive into this interesting topic. I mean, we all breathe, but then there's breathwork, which really transforms us. So, how'd you get started?
Hi, hi, Jill. Thank you so much for inviting me onto the show and a real pleasure to connect with you. Before we do anything, before I answer your question, would it be okay if we just took a few breaths together to begin with?
Absolutely. I would love that.
Thank you so much. And if you're listening to this, please just, if this is safe for you to do, just close your eyes, breathe with us right now. Let's do it. Thank you, Jill.
Thank you for that.
That feels different, doesn't it?
Yes, that feels lovely.
Breathwork is, as you said, we do it every single moment of our lives. It's the first thing that we do, and it's the last thing that we do. And most of the time, we are unconscious of it. But when we bring some awareness to what we do, everything can change. And I don't know if you can feel that the energy here in this space is different now. I feel more present with you. I feel more connected with you. And that is because we stopped and we paused and we just took a little bit of time, a little bit of energy just to connect with our breath. And when you do that, everything can change. So that's just a very small little taste of one of the ways that breathwork can can really help us and can be our greatest friends and our wisest counsel. Breathwork is a very big church. There's lots of exercises and techniques, which I'm sure we'll dive into, which we can use for different situations. But you're right, conscious breathwork is the thing that changes everything. So your question was, how did I get started? Well, the like my story, I'm sure is very similar to yours, and probably many people that you that listen to your show. I was a teacher. I was a yogi. I practiced yoga. I was a meditation fanatic. I'll get up very early in the morning. I was always on a quest to make the best version of myself in the world, and to try and leave the world a better place than I found it. Everything that I studied, that I did, held a little key to everything, held a little part of the puzzle, but nothing clicked well enough forever. About 10 years ago, I was in Bali, in a place called Ubud, which is one of the great spiritual centers of the world. And I recommend everyone goes there at some point. There is a guru on every street corner. There is a shaman behind every tree. There is a yoga genius, waiting to leap out on you. But in terms of awakening consciousness, it's an extraordinary place to be, whatever, your passion is or your calling is. And when I was there, I was invited into a breathwork session, just as a guest. And by that point, I was already in my early 40s. And I thought I knew everything already. I've been doing meditation for over 10 years and yoga for over 15 years. I thought I knew what breathwork was. You know, I've done a lot of pranayama, for instance. I've done a lot of breathwork meditation. But in that session, I went to a place that I've always dreamt of, a place of awakening, a place of connection, a place of transformation that had been offered to me or dangled in front of me in, studying Dharma, but I'd never reached it. It was easy and it was joyful and it was fun. And within just a few breaths, I had something change inside me forever. A fire was started, a light started to shine, and I knew that I had found what my calling was, what my purpose was in life. As it had changed me, I wanted to be a force for change, to bring that out in the world. So I committed my life to become a breathwork facilitator, which sounds a bit crazy, really. I promise you I'm not that crazy, maybe a little bit. But I trained to become a breathwork facilitator. And then soon after, I opened up my own school to train other people to become facilitators as well. I did some maths. I really want to make a big impact in the world. I want to be a force for good. And as a facilitator, I can connect with maybe 100 people a week if I'm really, really good. But if I can train other facilitators, actually the reach that we have is exponential. Because even if I train just 10 people, and I've trained over 200 now, you know, that's 200,000 in just a week that it is potential for us to reach. So that's just a little bit of my story of how I was given the gift of breath work. Just unexpectedly, it turned me on 10 years ago, and my journey to become what I am now, which is a breathwork teacher and trainer.
That's a great story. It's interesting that you talk about meditation and that you were trying to reach a certain state, but it wasn't until you got the breath work down that change actually happened for you.
Mm. Meditation is such an interesting avenue of exploration, and I'm really passionate about meditation. And I have a very deep practice, but it's really difficult. And for most people, it is beyond reach. Even meditators, if they're honest about themselves, will talk about how difficult and challenging it is. I'm sure you're aware of Ram Dass, who was one of the great meditation teachers of the last generation. He tells many stories of how when he was a young man and serious about his meditation practice, he'd look on the outside as if he was there in a deep meditation, but he said inside his mind was jumping all over the place. And yes, if you train your mind in meditation, in traditional meditation, you can receive so many gifts, but it's not easy. You have to sit on a meditation cushion for a very long time. The great meditators of history would go and sit up in a cave in the Himalayas and go through great physical deprivations to reach that moment of transformation, that moment of enlightenment, if you like to reach it. And that is impossible for most people. So I kind of had this thought, what if it didn't have to be like that? What if you could reach that same place of connection and transformation, of awakening, without years and years and years of great struggle? What if it was as easy and as joyful and as simple as taking a breath? What if it was like that? Because breathing is something that every single person can do. Everyone knows how to do this. And when you do it consciously, the gifts that you have inside of you start to come out. The light that is already there starts to unlock so pleasurably, I think is the way that I would put it.
I've personally found this to be true. I've meditated for years, but and when you first start, your mind does go everywhere. But if you incorporate breathing, consciously breathing into it, and you're paying attention to the breath more than anything else, it's drawing your attention. It allows your brain to do something because your brain hates to do nothing. It'll
Mm.
it'll entertain itself. It'll allow you to participate if you want, but it will entertain itself. But breathing and just focusing on the breath, you can train your brain to just focus on that because then it feels like it's doing something. And then then as you get good at it, you can get into that. I've heard it called the 5D state. It's that fuzzy exterior place that you can get to, and you can do it quickly, and it doesn't have to take a lot of work, and you don't have to sit there for hours. And like even just in that little meditation that we did, breathing in the beginning, I was able to get into that state where my body feels all fuzzy and fuzzy and not really solid. I don't know if that makes sense to you, but
Mhm.
it it's just it's just through controlling breathing and and focusing on the breathing and just allowing everything else to be out there. It's not like it's not like well, let me ask it as a question. Do you experience it that way? And And I know that there's different types of breath work for different situations. Like I was already in a calm and kind of open place when we first started. So it was really easy for me to get in there. But if I was agitated and I wanted to calm myself down, there would be a different breathing exercise. You walk people through different exercises with breath work. How does all that look? I guess is what my question is.
No, that's a great question. I love your description of going to that 5D place. That is I already viscerally, somatically in my body felt yes, that it is exactly. And it is easy. A tip for if you've got any coaches listening, if you talk about meditation, you'll attract some people because some people love the power of it, but you'll put a lot of people off as well. But if you say breath work, we're going to do some breathing, everyone understands that. Everyone gets it. Everyone can do it. Everyone finds it effective. So changing the language subtly about what you do makes a huge difference with people. It's much more inviting. It's much more achievable for people. And I think we all need to be in the business of what is possible. So let's just have a breath. If it's all right, I like to just stop and pause and take a breath every now and again. Is it okay if we just do that
Yeah,
again?
let's do that.
Thank you. Thank you, Jill. So your question was about breathwork techniques for different situations, and you're right. Breathwork is a very wide church and it has got all sorts of different uses. There are breathwork techniques and exercises that you can do for so many different things. For physical well-being, for instance, just how you're physically feeling right now, there's some simple life hacks that you can do which will transform your life. If you want to increase your fitness, or if you're already a sports person, you can increase your performance by, again, some simple exercises, some simple approaches and um, techniques, or just how you breathe will is the quickest way to improve your fitness, which isn't difficult. Breathwork can work on deeper layers as well. It's astonishing for emotional regulation. If you are feeling anxious, overwhelmed, if you're feeling triggered or hyper aroused, there are some easy techniques. And maybe we'll jump into one of these in a little moment, because I do believe we live in a world that is so full of stimulation that most people are hyper aroused all the time and need to get out of that, you know, fight or flight kind of response, which we have from so much constant bombardment from stimulation, and drop into a calmer rest and digest space. So breathwork can do that, but breathwork can also light you up on even deeper and more subtle energetic layers as well. It is astonishing for mental clarity, for creativity. If you need to have some ideas or see solutions to problems, if there's challenging that you're facing, well, if you can really connect with your breath, well, suddenly, again, things become achievable and you will see solutions to problems. Breathwork also works at even deeper energetic layers as well. It is at the heart of almost every spiritual practice. Breathwork is mentioned in every holy book for every religion. Breathwork is the heart of every spiritual activity, like prayer or like chanting or singing or movement. Breath is always there and is a tool for connecting into those places that are unexplored in ourselves, the different, dimensions of our soul or our spirit, of what is possible. Breathwork is the easiest and quickest key for unlocking some of those mysterious and secret places in ourselves as well.
I just had this thought, and I'm going to run it by you. Do you think that when we breathe in light?
I do. I do. I believe that we breathe in more than just the atoms and molecules that make up the physical components of oxygen. I believe that our breath is an energy that connects us all, not just to the world around us, but to each other. When we breathe together consciously, as we did at the beginning of the show, we connect at a much deeper energetic level. And when we are conscious and aware of the breath that we believe, it will connect us to ourselves. in a way that most of us don't get to experience. We're cut off from our highest, truest, deepest, and wisest selves. We live in a material world that actually is only just a superficial reflection of something much more powerful within us. It can connect to us in that. It can connect us to source and the true nature of reality, which we try and get to through meditation. Where this world is just an expression of I. So I do whatever language resonates with you like this. If light and love doesn't work for you, if energy doesn't work for you, if that's too also esoteric, then there are other words that you can use to understand the power that when you consciously and with awareness connect into something, then it is possible for it to be so much more. You know what? We can talk about this. We can talk about this, but do you think do you think everyone who's listening to this might like to join us in a little demonstration, a little example, a little participation to see if something is possible with breathwork?
Yeah, let's do that. That sounds exciting.
Okay. Well, as I mentioned, there is breathwork techniques and exercises for all sorts of different situations for all reasons. And although if we've got time, we'll jump into another one of those. But I'm feeling called to lead us in a few breaths of conscious breathwork. And this type of breathwork is the most powerful. It's like the rocket fuel of breathwork. It's the breathwork that can change you immediately. Within a few breaths, it can start to rewire you. This is what turned me on and lit me up, and I know that it can start to change things for everyone else. Conscious breathwork is really very, very powerful. Normally, we will only do this in a full workshop where we can give a full explanation, where we can keep everyone safe and everyone goes through, some basic medical questionnaires. But for this purpose, a 30-second, minute kind of breathwork is absolutely safe for everyone, unless you're driving right now, or unless you're playing with knives or heavy machinery or sticking your hand in fire. Don't do this breath work with us. Only do this breath work, this next little exercise with us, if you're in a quiet space where you'll be undisturbed for a few minutes and where you can be supported, either sitting or laying down. I hope that's okay. I can see that you're sitting down, so I think you're safe to do that with me.
Okay.
Okay, so this is the highest expression of breathwork, I believe. And you mentioned earlier that when we breathe, it is like breathing in light and it is like breathing in energy. Well, that is exactly what we're doing. The reason this works is because I believe very deep down, our bodies are very, very wise. They're the most amazing piece of engineering. They know what they need to do to heal and to transform at any moment. But the thing is, most of the time, we're not in our bodies. We're stuck up in our heads. And we're worrying about the future or the past, where the challenges that we're facing, what we're going to be eating next, or what we're going to be watching on Netflix, or our kids, or our dogs, or the weather. Something is always jumping around in here. So when we do a conscious breath work, which is normally at least 30 to 40 minutes in length, then we're giving ourselves space and time. But this breathwork technique is like rocket fuel. You will feel how you will feel physically different, I promise you, as you do this. So I think the way that we'll do this is we'll just dive straight into a very short meditation just to help bring us into this moment, and then we'll do maybe 90 seconds of breathing together, and we'll see if there is something that comes up for you in that moment. Are you willing to give this a go, Jill?
Absolutely.
Okay. Well, let's close your eyes. Take some breaths gently in and out through the nose. And just become aware of how your body is moving right now, your chest rising and falling. Feel the air against your skin. And feel how the air is entering and leaving your body. In through your nose. When you're ready, take your awareness inside. On an inhale, feel your awareness go deep inside to that still, quiet place within you. That's it. Easy and simply go inside and connect to that still, quiet place within you. Place where your wisest, truest, highest self resides. A place of strength, a place of love, and a place of wisdom. In a moment, I'm going to ask you a question, and I want you to feel the answer that arises inside you, to listen to it rather than to think of the answer. If there was a challenge that you are facing right now that you needed some light and some energy, some clarity on, what would that challenge be? If there was a challenge that you are facing right now that you needed some clarity, some light, some energy, maybe there is something inside of you that isn't being expressed, something that it is time to let out. Maybe there is a relationship that isn't working. Just listen and feel it. You don't have to speak it out. I want you just to connect to it. Now, let's begin our breath work. I will breathe for just 90 seconds. Please follow my instructions. Open your mouth wide, really wide, as if you're taking the bite of an apple. That's it. Now start taking full body breaths into every part of your body. That's it. Keep breathing. Now, the most important instruction is please make sure that there are no pauses at the top, no pauses at the bottom. As one breath ends, the next begins. That's it. Breathe powerfully, breathe easily. Let that breath enter inside into you. Let that energy enter into your body deeper, more powerfully. That's it. If you wish to go deeper, breathe a little more fully. Keep your mouth wide if you can. That's it. No pauses at the top, no pauses at the bottom. You've already been going on 30 seconds. There is 1 minute left to breathe, so stay committed, stay present for this minute. And remember, if there was a challenge that you're facing now that you wish some light and some energy into, what would that be? Let your breath light you up. Let your breath give you some energy, give you some light. Feel into what that might be. Keep breathing fully. That's it. 30 more seconds of breathing, fully and freely. Let your breath light you up. Just another 15 seconds. Stay committed to your breath for this last 10 seconds. Breathe as if this meant everything to you, fully and freely. 5 more of the deepest breaths. And one more. One deep, beautiful breath. Okay, close your mouth. Put some pauses into your breath. Keep your eyes closed and just feel for a moment, because physically you will be feeling different right now. The sensations, the physical sensations will be quite powerful, and it will take a moment or two to come back. So just stay with this a minute, and if there was a gift for you in that breath work, just feel into it. Just connect into it. Was there a spark that came through? Was there some words, maybe a message for you in that breath work? So just feel for a moment or two more. And when you're ready, just blink your eyes open. Have a look around the room that you are in. Notice one thing that maybe you don't look at very much. Let's give it a smile. whatever it is, a picture, a book, a little crack in the wall. Everything needs a little bit of love. Then give yourself a shake. Welcome back, Jill. Welcome back. And thank you for committing to that breath work. I saw you commit to that. I saw you breathe fully. I saw you breathe beautifully, actually. How about, does it feel right to share a little bit of your experience during that? Maybe start with how that physically felt with for you.
I I do feel like I want to share, and I want to share the experience that I felt energized. I felt um, I felt like I was moving out of my head and into my body. At one point, I was between like my heart and my third eye that connects kind of in the back. Um, well, for me anyway. And I had a question because there was something that was bothering me about something that I'm doing in my business. And I got the message, just trust the process, which thank you for that. I needed that. It really has allowed me to shift my energy from one of control, which is the state that I was in normally for most of my life. I want to control the outcome. I want to control the situation. And this year I chose a word to guide me, and that word is peace. And it's not like just the sit around and do nothing sort of peace, but it's the peace where you're in flow and where you are aligned with your soul, with your purpose, and things that are outside of that in terms of trying to control things, because ultimately the only control we have is the reality that we choose to create. And we're always creating our own realities. Like we can share the same experience, but walk away from it and describe it to somebody else, and it will be totally different. Like my reality of what we're doing here is totally different from your reality of what we're doing here, even though we're experiencing the same sort of experience. And it was very yummy. Let me put it that.
Well, Jill, thank you so much for sharing, actually, and really properly sharing about what that gave to you. I love how breathwork always has something for us, always has some magic in there. And I loved what your word is and your attitude and your approach to a piece isn't something where it's just sit back and expect it to happen, but it is an approach and an attitude of allowing things to happen, about being in flow and about not being too concerned, maybe about the outcome, that it is there
Yeah.
to trust the process, that something will come from this. So thank you so much for sharing. That's really inspiring to hear. Thank you.
Well, thank you. I don't know what I expected, because I really come to these interviews where I'm not really expecting anything. And it's always so interesting what transpires, and allowing the conversation to just evolve
Mhm.
is is very special. I hope as listeners you all feel the same way. It's just like it's kind of a little bit of magic. So I let's shift a little bit, because I would like for people to know how that they can work with you personally also, and talk a little bit about how you train um, coaches, or even just regular people who want to be part of the breath work, become a breathwork facilitator. How would that look for somebody? How would they know if this would be for them?
Well, thanks for the invitation, Jill. And I hope if you're listening to this, that short little practice that we did there, I hope you're able to commit to it. And I hope it gave something to you. I hope maybe a little spark was lit within inside of you, because I truly believe breathwork can benefit every single person, wherever you are in your life and whatever you are doing right now, whatever your journey looks like. I think breathwork can help everyone. So, what I do, I offer quite a lot. I try and offer something for everyone wherever they are on their journey. If you would like to experience a little bit more of what we did just then, but a full session, if you really want to go a little bit deeper, I offer 5 free live workshops every single week. These are called our online breathing spaces. And I've done that because I have a school where I train people, and I've got a lot of teachers, I've got a lot of faculty staff. And so these people are all around the world. And of course, we need to serve people in every different time zone, at every different day, because not everyone can make the same time. So we have 5 free workshops every single week on Zoom where you can truly experience. We did 90 seconds of breathing. In that space, you'll do 30 minutes of breathing, usually set to music. But of course, every time there's a different facilitator, every time there's a different energy, every time there's a different gift for you. So if you've not experienced breathwork before, then please come and try that, because it is an amazing introduction. It doesn't cost you anything. We have some free courses as well to get you started. We've got a breathwork starter kit. We've got a short 3-day transformational breathwork program, which is called Spark, actually, Rewire Spark, which is an extraordinary little taster of what breath can give you. If you would like to experience a deep personal transformation, we've just launched a program called Rewire, which is a 12-week transformational breathwork program, which, as I mentioned earlier, breathwork doesn't, what transformational change doesn't have to be difficult. It doesn't have to be hours and hours and hours of every single day of really hard, striving kind of work. What if it was easy? What if it was as simple as taking a breath? So Rewire is a simple program that only takes maybe 15 minutes a day, and once a week do a longer breath work, an hour at the end of it. But with just that, over 12 weeks period, the changes that you will see will be incredible, because that program is what I did on my training, and it forms a part of our facilitator training now as well. People, if they truly want to become a breathwork facilitator and hold other people in that space of transformational change, everyone has to commit to go into those spaces in themselves again and again and again. Because, connection, enlightenment, transformation isn't something that happens just once and that's it. It is not. It is a continual commitment every single day to show up as your best version of yourself. So that Rewire program is part of our facilitator training. Now, if you're a coach already, or if you've suddenly been inspired, if you, as I did, knew immediately as I experienced breath, this is what I wanted, then I train people to become breathwork facilitators and to do what I do. That is a deep program, because you cannot do this overnight. It is a year-long program of about 400 hours. So it's a big commitment to become a breathwork facilitator, but it is life-changing. It is life-changing, not just for you in how you show up in every single moment of your life. With every single relationship becomes deeper and more profound. You start making a bigger impact in the world. Breathwork doesn't replace anything that you do already. So whether you are a therapist, a Reiki practitioner, a yoga teacher, whether you're a coach, everything that you do is still valuable. Breathwork integrates everything and elevates everything. It will make everything that you do more powerful, because breathwork is at the foundation of everything that we do. So, including in the show notes, I'm hoping I love to try and give away little bits when I come onto podcasts, because I'm so grateful for the opportunity to come and share my passion, what is in my heart. So I always, as a little thanks to my to the people who come and listen to me, there'll be some discount codes for you if you would like to try one of our paid programs. But of course, try some of the free ones as well. You may not like me and my Cockney villain, Hollywood bad guy kind of voice might put you off. If that's the case, fine. I know I don't resonate with everyone, but please find someone who you do and connect with your breath, because it is the greatest gift that you have inside of you. It is with you every single moment. It can be your best friend and your wisest counsel. Oh, that was quite a rant there, wasn't it? That was quite a lot of information there. I didn't mean to go on so long, Jill. I'm sorry if I went a little bit over there. But
No, that's
please,
perfect.
find your breath, everyone.
Yes, it it's so important. I, it's I learned a very simple technique from someone who was a menopause coach. And it's just box breathing.
Mm.
And I have to tell you, it has changed my whole life. I could not sleep. I couldn't go to sleep. I would wake up at night all the time. And I started box breathing, and I box breathe every night, at least, 5 or 6 breaths. And I fall into sleep. I stay asleep, and I wake up refreshed in the morning. And for a postmenopausal woman to be able to tell you that, that's like very rare. Very rare do older women sleep very well. And it's all from just this little simple breathing exercise. So I personally can attest to how powerful breath work is and how transformational it can be. And it's,
Mm.
you know, you think you know how to breathe. We've done it all our lives. But truly, I can tell you, there are things to learn about it that are transformational. That it's just like, I will call it magic.
It is magic. Gil, thank you. I'm so glad you mentioned box breathing. That was actually the very first technique that I learned. My fiance, my then fiance, now my wife, taught it to me 10 years ago. And I was hoping to do a breath work for emotional regulation, and box breathing is one of my go-to ones. It is one of the simplest, and you're right, it's simple and yet so powerful. And that's the way everything should be. It doesn't have to be complicated or difficult. What if it was easy? How about, Jill, we just do a few rounds of box breathing now as a simple little takeaway that everyone can do. There are no contraindications to this. You can do it all day, every single day, and it will only benefit you. Would that be something that you might like to just do a little bit of?
Okay, if I fall asleep, you'll have to rouse
Okay.
me back up. This is the only
Okay. Well, let's.
forewarning.
Well, this is a really simple exercise, everyone who's doing this. So breathe along with us. But the concept of it is we call it box breathing because we count our inhales and our exhales. We're going to do it to a count of 4 this time. But at the top of the breath, we do a breath hold for the same amount of time. So we'll do a breath hold full for a count of 4. And then at the end of the exhale, we do another breath hold again for a count of 4. So our inhales and the holds all are the same length. And if you like to think of it like a box, we inhale up, hold, go along, exhale, go down, hold empty, go back to the start. And that's why it's called box breathing. I'll lead us in with some counting for a few breaths. Does that work for you? Or just
Yeah,
do
I
maybe
love it.
5 or 6 rounds of this. All right, chill. Give yourself a shake. Inhale through the nose fully. Exhale fully through the mouth. Now let's breathe in through the nose. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold empty, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold, 2, 3, 4. Exhale, 2, 3, 4. Hold empty, 2, 3, 4. Inhale, hold, exhale, hold empty, inhale, hold, exhale, hold empty. Last time, go by yourself. Inhale, exhale, when you're ready, keep your eyes open, give yourself a shake, breathe normally. There we go, just a few rounds of box breathing. How do you feel now, Jill?
Very relaxed. It's so interesting to me how powerful breathing can be and how much difference it can make you feel, whether you believe it or not. It's just one of those exercises that it 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 affects your whole body because the oxygen is going in all the time, and the energy that you're breathing in and the light that you're breathing in. And when you're doing it consciously, it's almost like it has a bigger impact on all of your cells. I like to think of our body as a collective. We're not
Mm,
we're not just one being. You know how Gaia is all of the organisms that are connected to her. We as humans, really all animals, um, that are more than one cell, are a collective of cells. And cells are living beings. They may not be sentient, or they may. Who knows?
mm. I
But
love
we're
that.
providing for them. And
I really believe that we are. I genuinely believe that we are with our breath. It supports every single part within us, every cell, you know, all the different consciousness, all the different energies that we have in our hold. It is all nourished by our breath. Mhm. Thank you, Jill, for this. I've really enjoyed the time that we've spent together.
I have too. This is so fascinating. It's rare that you talk to somebody and you're just talking about breathing, but it's such a huge subject, and yet it's very simple, and anyone can do it. Anyone does it. Everyone does it.
Everyone does.
So we will put all of the links in the show notes for people to get in contact with you. And I strongly encourage the audience to take you up on your offers for the free breathwork courses and to just join the clinics that you do during the week. And also, if you're interested in augmenting your coaching practice to include helping your clients with breath work, you want to get in touch with Benedict about his training program. It, it sounds fascinating. I really believe that this needs to get out to as many people as possible because it's just so powerful. Um, so what's the one thing you want to leave the audience with today, Benedict?
I thank you for asking that. I would like to just invite them to fall in love with their breath. It is like a friend that you never knew existed. It is like the love of your life that is just waiting there inside of you, that has so many gifts to give you, that has so much. So just let your breath into your life because it can change everything in just one simple breath.
Awesome. Thank you so much for joining me and for doing the exercises with me and just for doing what you do. I think it's really important and it's really powerful.
Thank you, Jill. Perhaps we could close as we started just by taking a few breaths together.
Let's do that.
Thank you.
Thank you.